This was my 30th cold call ever. This was the first shipper I had ever spoken to. I will preface this by saying, like, heavily, this is not normal. If I could do this every 30th cold call, I would be inviting you to my mansion and we'd be partying on my yacht then thereafter, and then I'd be retiring all of us. I had done some crazy research on this prospect, and I was doing crazy research on every prospect at the time, back in July, because I hadn't spoken to any shippers before. I was trying to figure out their personas and what they enjoyed talking about, if I needed to emergency build rapport in some way where maybe I'd be in the middle of a conversation and I didn't know what to say. I made the call to it's a large agricultural manufacturer. They're in the Midwest, and I had the name of the person, the name of the company, what they did, and then I would look up what popular restaurants were nearby, like that maybe my prospect had been to, where nearby running trails were, or just trails in general that maybe they had walked along, or like sports teams. I know nothing about sports, so I made the call. Their value is a little over 70 million. So I'm already going into it thinking, well, I'm so new, like there's no way they're even gonna choose me anyway. So I was kind of going into it even just assuming nothing was going to happen. I got a hold of the gatekeeper, or the front desk, and I just asked for my point of contact's name, the POC, and they passed me over, and she answered, and I asked her if she had a moment to talk. I asked her for permission, and she said sure. And so I gave her kind of like my 10-second rundown, and she said, she normally doesn't take these calls. So she immediately had her guard up. She knew I was trying to, get freight from her, which is fine. Since this was my first conversation with a shipper, I started, it was hard for me to right away think of just things to say in general, like knowing how to overcome objections. So instead of doing a lot of what I do now, which has been very refined, it's a very smooth, solid process and script, I just immediately defaulted to the nearby restaurant that was across the street from where she worked. So I was like, I hear good things about that restaurant. It looks like it has pretty good ratings. She's like, and then all of a sudden she just started raving about this restaurant. She was like, oh, their burger is great. I normally get it like medium rare. And I'm like, oh, that one looks so good. I've never been, but if I'm in the area, I'm down to go. So she got all excited. Her guard went down, and all of a sudden she was able to, think of a lane that was going to be opening up here in a couple weeks. And for those of you who are new into the industry, a lane is just moving freight from point A to point B, a specific location to another specific location. And the ask was for me to find a driver that was open to moving 4 truckloads every day, 5 days a week, every week, the whole year, every year. So I did that. I found a driver, and the driver did his thing for about a month and a half, and the wait times ended up being a little too long over at the shipper, so he quit. Like, he bought a truck for this thing and everything, actually, which is not typical. Like, if you're thinking about becoming a freight broker, it's not normal for you to find someone to buy a specialized truck for what they normally already have trucks in their fleet. But my guy bought his own truck and everything, but he thought the wait times were a little too long at the shipper, so he quit, and the VP ended up finding someone that they already knew. So I don't do moves with that shipper anymore, unfortunately, and I'll show you why that kind of sucks, because this was a very autopilot lane. This is what I was making. So my driver was pulling 104 tons every day. My total revenue was $1,100 per day, and my profit per day was 104. So I was making $1 per ton every day. And the plan was to do that for a full year, and for me to profit $27 or $27,000, but it didn't work out like that, unfortunately. All I had to do for this was pay the driver. Like, I just had to pay the driver once a week, give him new pickup numbers once a week. You shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. So if you land a jackpot like this, keep calling, because you could lose a shipper at any moment. So now I have more shippers. We're in a good place. But hopefully this helps. I will talk to you soon.